thank you for your profound and touching and urgent messages and experience. And I want to thank our interpreters and also the Equal Voice for generating the vision to mount Feminist Forum 4 and the Feminist Forum team, including Rosemary Ganley and Ruth Chen, our IT manager. And now over to Courtney Clark to come to the finale with the parliamentary secretary and her honors, conclusions and actions. Where are we headed? What are some possible networks, connections, actions that we can take together to keep this wonderful community and previous Feminist Forum alumni connected together and speaking and moving the agenda? Over to you, Courtney.
Thank you so much, Betsy. And wow, what a powerful session this has been. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this is the beginning. This is not where we end today. When we come off this call, there is a lot of work to be done, and I guarantee that I will do everything in my power to make sure that those collaborations happen. So now on to the finale of the event. I'm going to start by asking Lieutenant Governor, Her Honor, the Honourable Judy Foote, and then moving over to MP Gudie Hutchings. What was it that struck you the most today, and how do you feel that you can effectively utilize your platform to help move these issues forward so that we come out of COVID more equitably and sustainably than we came in?
Well, thank you so much, Courtney, first and foremost, for your work in making sure that this Feminist Forum materialized. And thank you to Betsy. It's been a real honor for me to be among so many trailblazers. So good to see my good friend, Gudie Hutchings. I miss you. But what is really important, I think, coming out of this is that we need to understand the importance of women supporting women. And I tell you that because I don't think we do it enough. And just an example, when I was with a young lady who was running in an election. Well, she wasn't a young lady, but younger than I was at the time. And she was running against a man. And she was, and Gudie would know who I'm talking about, very qualified, equally as qualified as the man. We knew that the population was 52% women. So we knocked on so many doors because I was supporting her in this campaign. And when we walked away, I thought for sure she would win it because every woman who came to the door said, "You have my support." Well, guess what? She lost miserably. So I keep saying women aren't supporting women. And we talk the talk, but we really need to get our heads together about how we do that. And here at Government House, while my role doesn't include developing policy, but what I can do is empower. I can bring people together. And that's where the sharing circle comes from. Because here we have what we call sharing circles. And Courtney would know because Equal Voice helped us with the one we did about empowering women. But it's an opportunity to bring people together. And I'm prepared to do that as the first female lieutenant governor, to have more sharing circles focusing on issues important to women and how we can pursue making them better or bringing them, finding a conclusion that's going to be beneficial to women. My experience as a member of a gender balanced cabinet when I was in Ottawa was, it showed that the proof is that when you have a gender balanced cabinet in particular, that the policy that you develop is much more inclusive. But I think we need to really emphasize the value and what women bring to the table. Their experiences are different those of men. So when we're having that discussion and you get both thought processes coming together, you end up with a better product in the way of policy. But this has been amazing to hear from so many of you. My 30 years in public service has shown me again how valuable women are and how we need to be engaged. It's the one thing I think that we're missing because we listen. Women listen to each other. And part of the solution in all of the issues that we're facing as a province, as a country, is that people aren't listening. And we really need to do that. And we do it well as women, which leads me to say that if we talk more, I believe that women talking to women can change the world. I've seen the impact of women coming together and making a difference. And we need to do that. So Courtney, thank you so much for the work that you do with Equal Voice. I remember going to the MNL, focus on women, the forum, women's caucus there, and having an opportunity to speak. And that was my message to them, because we don't have, while we're making great inroads in terms of the number of women leaders and women getting elected, we aren't there yet. And one of the points I made at that forum was, women need to support women and not just pay it lip service. So today we've talked about many issues that we need to continue to talk about, but we really need to get our heads around why is it that we do not have more women in leadership roles? Why is it that we don't have more women in the provincial House of Assembly or in federal politics? And why is it that we don't have more women in leadership roles in the MNL? So all of these things, I guess we need to reflect on what we as women are doing to encourage and profile women. And as the first woman lieutenant governor, my installation included all women. In terms of the entertainment was by all women. I ended up bringing in a girl guide pack from my hometown, again, to look at and for them to see a woman becoming the first woman lieutenant governor, because it's a role model. It's important for them to know that they too can become whatever they set their minds to. It takes hard work, but because you're a girl doesn't mean that you can't become whatever you want to become. So I think for all of us, and from the Indigenous perspective, we had a water ceremony at my installation because I wanted to have an Indigenous perspective as part of the installation. It was important to do. And in concluding, here at Government House, lieutenant governors get to have aide-de-camps, and that's someone who supports them throughout the 5 years of the term. I put in place 25 women aide-de-camps because I wanted to send the message that working together, there's nothing we can't accomplish, but we must work together. Thank you so much, Betsy, for the invitation, and to you, Courtney, to Equal Voice, for including me in what has been a wonderful 2 hours.
Thank you so much, Her Honor. And what about yourself, Gudie?
And again, to echo what Her Honor said, Courtney and Betsy, and to all of Equal Voice, and to all of you for participating today, especially you, Your Honor. We know that Canada's recovery from this pandemic depends on ensuring that Canadian women and diverse individuals are working, safe, and their families cared for. If any of you looked at Budget 2021, there were 3 themes. One was, let's get this pandemic under control, get vaccines in arms of people. So I hope you're all putting your arm out there and getting your vaccine when you can. Of course, it was getting people, jobs stabilized, but then there was the growth factor. And we know that we won't build a stronger, more inclusive recovery if we don't have women and diverse individuals at that table, making the decisions and working to get it done. And we know that they're difficult conversations, but they're an important part and play a very important part of the road to recovery and the road to progress. And we have to address the root causes of inequality. That's just a norm. We have to get to the point that these conversations are behind us and we are working ahead. One of the things that we've heard throughout all the pandemic is how important childcare is. So I'm delighted that we've come up with a plan now to get that into the hands of every Canadian from coast to coast to coast. The goal is to have $10 daycare in a year or two, with working, of course, with the provinces and territories. And the other thing that we do that we don't talk enough about as a government is that we put a gender-based lens on every single policy that comes out. Her Honor may remember when she was sitting at the cabinet table, we implemented that. There's a gender lens that goes on every piece of legislation, and it's mandatory that happens. So we are making steps, but we're only doing that by listening to people like yourselves. So thanks for all you do. Please stay safe. Reach out anytime. And I can't wait till we can do this in person one of these days. As wonderful as this is to do, Zoom has taught us that we can get a group of people together from all across the world. And thanks to our friends from Australia and the UK for being here with us today. But it'll be great when we can finally do this in person. But in the meantime, please stay safe. And again, to Equal Voice, thanks for all the work you do. Your Honor, thanks to see you.
Parliamentary
so
Secretary,
much.
don't leave quite yet. There's a snippet of a group photo, all 12 on screen. Over to you, Courtney, for your remarks as Ruth Chen brings panelists, interpreters, and youth all on the screen for a quick final photo. Your comments, Courtney.
Thank you both so much, and I'll be sure to be following up to make some of those promises a reality very soon. Just to wrap up to this event, I want to thank you all so much for attending today. A reminder that if you are struck by what you've heard and you'd like to contribute to the continuing work of the panelists, you can tip the panelists on our Eventbrite page used to originally register for this event. I look forward to sharing the formal report and the follow-up information with you all, and a special thank you to all of our panelists, Dr. Betsy McGregor for moderating the event, Lieutenant Governor and MP Hutchings for co-hosting the Sharing Circles, to Ruth Chen on IT, the 2 ASL interpreters, and of course to all of you who tuned in today. Thank you again, and I invite all of you to put your name on the ballot.